Hello and welcome to Big Muddy Mayhem. This is the podcast where we talk about true crime and bad behavior throughout the Midwest.
Each week we'll bring you 2 stories from the heartland that might break your heart, but we hope to entertain you along the way.
I'm Tracey Laricha.
And I'm Janet O'Brien.
Hello, Janet. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Another recording this week.
I am, getting ready to go to the Fox with another friend of ours, so I'm sitting here all dressed up, which feels strange because normally when you come over, I'm still in like scruffies or PJs.
Well, I hope you have fun tonight. What are you saying again?
We are seeing MJ the musical tonight.
That'll be fun.
And then, Monday is my birthday.
Sweet. Happy
So by the time this airs, I will be 49.
Yay! Happy early birthday.
Thank you. And we are all set.
Yeah, we have some stories. I think yours is a continuation.
My story is first.
Awesome.
And it is a part 2. Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun. So if you haven't heard the first part, it's fine if you just want to tune into this one. But you might want to
go back to episode 32.
Episode 32, yeah. And listen just a little bit to give you kind of some background.
Right.
So I told you about Dr. Norman Baker and the horrors of the Crescent Hotel.
Right, and how he died of cancer.
And how he died of cancer.
Well deserved.
Mm-hmm. But this week, I'm going to introduce you to the ghosts of the Crescent Hotel. So shout out to all our spooky muddy buddies. This one's for you. We love you. Mwah. As you can imagine, a place that saw the horrors of Dr. Baker really meet the definition of if these walls could talk.
Right.
And as it turns out,
they can?
They kind of do. So, as we know, limestone and mineral water are both kind of things that are believed to help contain energy or help spirits to manifest energy. For you ghosty money buddies, there's that. It's me, I'm the skeptic, it's me. So I'm not a ghosty person, but I do love these stories, so we're going to go there. Add in a dash of fake cancer doctor, you mix it with immigrant builders in the days before OSHA, and we get this place. Also, oh my gosh, so this is something I probably could have put on last week's episode. In 2019... they were digging up an area to add in, they have all kinds of new fun things to do at the Crescent Hotel. They were adding in an axe throwing and archery grounds.
Oh, wow.
And while they were digging stuff up, they found a whole bunch of specimen jars.
Oh, no. From the doctor?
Right. Well,
wow. Yeah, the tumors.
Whoever bought the place, they were like, get rid of all of this stuff. And they were like, okay, well, I guess we'll just put it down here. And it stayed there from the 70s until just about 2019.
Wow. That's crazy.
And found them again. Many of the staff have had experiences working in the hotel. Some of them have only worked one shift and then been like, nope,
I'm good.
I'm out. Sometimes it's an uneasy feeling. There's one spot on the 3rd floor where people have been known to pass out.
Oh, really?
Perfectly healthy people for no reason, just feel faint and pass out. And sometimes they have even seen full apparitions.
Oh, wow.
Now, my favorite is this. Somebody in the restaurant, God bless restaurant workers.
Right.
They do so much. They put up this whole big Christmas display, the tree, the fake packages around the tree, etc. And then they show up one morning, and all of the decor, the fake tree, the fake packages, all of it, has been put up on the other side of the room.
What?
With chairs gathered around it.
Oh, God!
Like a whole bunch of ghosts playing Yankee Swap. Right? Now, I really want to believe that this was like a night porter or a fry cook
Right.
that's like playing a joke.
Exactly.
But let's face it, that's funny.
Yes, it is.
But that is not the case. Like, no one owned up to it, and everyone was a little bit freaked out by it.
Oh, wow.
In another story, there's a honeymoon couple, and they go to bed, and they're sleeping just under the sheet because, well, they're a honeymoon couple.
Yeah.
Like, they're warming each other up. No comforter. They pull that down to the end of the bed and just like it freaky in the sheets. They wake up, the husband does, and he's sweating like crazy because the comforter is now up and tucked around him.
Oh, my God.
And this happens 3 separate times
Oh, my God.
during the night, which, man, as a woman who, by the time you listen to this, will be 49, that is my worst nightmare. Do not put a blanket on me while I'm sleeping. Jesus, just like show up on my face and go boo. But leave my sleep alone.
Right.
After Dr. Baker left, the hotel was empty and then went through a huge renovation. Like, it took until 1967, I guess, somebody else buys the hotel, and they're going to go ahead and, like, do a whole renovation. They're turning it back to a resort.
Right.
They want to get rid of all traces of Dr. Baker.
Oh, yeah.
And they're helped along because there's a huge fire during the renovation.
Oh, my gosh.
Burns down like a reasonable part of the hotel. Like,
oh, no.
not everything, because it is a lot of stone.
Yeah, it is.
You can't burn down rock.
No.
It's hard to burn down rock.
Right.
Right, so they have the fire then during the renovation. So a lot of general stories, but there are a few characters and a couple of rooms that we know details about.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the ghosts.
Oh, good.
The specific ghosts in the Crescent Hotel.
Excellent.
And we are going to start by... Oh, I'm going to turn on my D&D so that we don't have to hear about if Slice has pizza. You guys don't need to know how often I eat pizza. That's my business. We're going to start with the girl in the mist.
Okay. Yep,
She's pretty.
Yes.
In a white dress.
Yes.
She's supposed to be a student of the school. Do you remember how it was a girls' school for a while and they were all in white?
Yeah, they were all wearing
hats,
white. Yes, absolutely.
And that was the school uniform. Now, some stories say that she was pregnant.
Oh.
She is seen jumping off the balcony, and then you see like a light like move from the balcony and then down into the courtyard.
Oh my God.
And then disappears.
Wow.
Depending on the different sources that I mean, these are ghosts. We can't ask them.
Right.
Like, this is all a guess. She might have been pushed or she might have jumped on her own.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So she is kind of, we don't know much about her, but people do see her. Like, out on the veranda of the courtyard and then down on the balcony.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they see her jump.
Wow.
There is also the nurse.
Okay.
Who is seen on the 3rd floor hallway. Remember I said there was this spot on the 3rd floor where people would get faint and pass out? Well, guests in rooms on that floor can hear a gurney squeaking.
Oh, wow.
You know how when you go to the grocery store and you get the wiggly cart that's like...
Yes.
And then some people have seen her pushing a gurney.
Really?
But only after about 11 o'clock. Like, that's only in the wee hours of the night.
Oh, wow.
Which is when those patients were transported for their rooms.
Right.
To be cured.
Cured, exactly.
And never seen again. That's when they transported bodies. Was kind of like
in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
Right.
So you see the nurse and hear her then. We also have Brecky.
Brecky, okay.
He's a little boy. He was the son of the president of that girls' college.
Oh, okay.
And when he was there, he used to love to play with all the girls. You have all of these women that are like kind of early 20s. They're all feeling broody, you know. And then there's this sweet little kid around that always wants to play with them and say hi to them.
Aww.
So he has all of these kind of like big sisters.
Right.
And he used to love to play specifically, and this is the creepiest thing, with like a rag ball.
Okay.
Like the size of a dodgeball, and he would like, they'd throw it, they'd kick it, they'd play back and forth with him. He dies of appendicitis.
Oh no.
At a very young age. Like I think he's maybe 4 or 5.
Oh jeez.
But he is seen all over the hotel, in the courtyard, in the hallways, still with a ball, still trying to get people to play with him. And a few people have said that they have heard him speak, and the only thing that he says is, "It's not fair."
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. I know.
Oh.
It's terrible. So, poor Brecky.
Mm-hmm.
There is now also Theodora, and she is seen outside of room 419.
Okay.
Which is one of the 2 most haunted rooms in the hotel.
Okay.
We'll get to the other one.
Okay.
But she's seen outside of 419. She is frantically like searching for her room key. She also sometimes has conversations with guests.
Oh, wow.
And mentions that she is a patient at the hotel. And she tells them that she is like just trying to get into her room.
Oh my god.
And so there's a whole lot of things that have like kind of happened in room 419. She was apparently very neat because she's been known to kind of clean and organize rooms. Like coins are stacked, all of your toiletries are rearranged. Kind of like the ghost of the lighthouse.
Of the lighthouse.
Right. Again, like, send me to a hotel with this woman. Like, put me in room 419. Let her fold my clothes. And, you know, like, put my stuff away where it's supposed to go. But on at least one occasion, she has also packed a guest's luggage and then left it right by the door.
Oh my god!
Like, you GTFO. It's sort of like a party where the host just like yawns and yawns.
Like you're not leaving.
Until somebody's like, oh yeah, we should go. So Theodora is there in room 419. Rentable at the Crescent Hotel.
Wow.
But the main character,
Okay.
the top banana here is Michael.
Okay, Michael.
I'm going to show you a picture of Michael.
Oh yeah. Okay. He looks decent.
Mm-hmm.
Younger guy.
He is. That's a terrible picture, but that is a handsome man.
Yes, it is.
He's an Irish stonemason. He was 17 and working on the construction of the hotel. He is super hot. Like, he is foxy for the time being. Like, he's just really, really handsome. He's also really, really girl crazy.
Oh, okay.
Because he's 17.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the U.S. for the first time. You're working around. You're doing all this stuff. You're horny. There are all of these rich young ladies that are there in town that are just kind of like milling about, walking up and down the street, maybe taking a look at those biceps, you know, all of that. And the story goes, one day he's working on building the stone walls of the hotel, and this very, very pretty girl comes walking down the street, and she stops, and she's kind of giving him the eye.
Uh-huh.
He is showing off a little bit, like catcalling, he's singing, he's peacocking, and he's on this big, huge beam.
Oh, no.
And he starts, like, doing a little dance like showing off.
Right.
And he falls and plunges to his death.
Oh my God.
Hitting his head on one of the lower beams. And dies in what would eventually be room 218.
Oh my God.
Do you want to hear about room 218?
Sure. Tell me about room 18, Tracy.
So this is where people experience him, especially women.
Oh no.
He still loves the ladies.
Okay.
And in particular, he really likes to touch them.
Oh.
Women that stay in this room say that they feel hands or sometimes lips like on the back of their neck. Or they feel like someone's watching them when they're in the shower.
Oh my God.
Or they feel somebody like put a little pinch maybe on their rear.
Oh no.
On their bottom because fuck. Even dead men can't keep their hands to themselves. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, girls. There is no escape. Not even in the afterlife. But I have saved the very best ghost for last.
Oh, good.
Michael is the one that we know the most about. But
Okay.
my very favorite is that this hotel has a ghost cat. Those of you that hear me scream and like whine every week about how many cats I have. 2 is fine, 3 is insanity. Don't do it. The hotel has a ghost cat. They have had a number of cats, and they still do. The current ones are a pair of cats that they call Jasper and Casper, which I think is adorable. But we are going to talk about the most prominent one and the one that haunts the hotel, and this is Morris.
Oh, it's a big orange kitty cat.
Morris
Orange
is
tabby.
a huge orange tabby, and he arrived in 1973, and they were like, yeah, he just walked in and started acting like he owned the place. Which, that is, like, that's big cat energy.
Oh, yeah.
Our beloved deceased Herbert, who lived to 19, he was a street cat, and the way that he kind of got into rescue and then eventually came to us was because there was a bar that had, like, it was sort of stuffy in there one night,
Yeah.
and they opened up the door and had it, like, open just a crick, and they were like, yeah, this little cat just came running in and jumped right up in a bar stool and, like, wouldn't leave. So they're like, we have to call somebody to do something about it. And he eventually came to us and lived with us for like almost 19 years.
Wow.
But so Morris was
kind of like
that
that.
kind of cat.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently he stuck around. Like, he has stuck around. He was there for 21 years. He was listed as the GM of the hotel.
Oh my God.
They eventually put in kind of a special little cat door that led to a little, like, back office for him, so
Oh my God.
he could just come and go, like, however he wanted. And when he passed away, he was buried on the grounds. His grave is still there. You can still go visit it. There's a photo and there's a poem in memoriam about him there in the hotel. It's a long poem and it's not a good one, so I won't read it, but my favorite is the final 2 lines. Upstairs and down, he kept everything nice. They might have had ghosts, but they never had mice.
So you showed me that picture.
Yes.
He's an orange tabby. His name is Morris. And I was like, oh, well, it's 1970s.
Morris from no, Morris the cat.
Morris the cat from Nine Lives commercials.
I don't think they even make that anymore.
I don't know if they do.
My boys are all on Fancy Feast and then Kibble. So he can be felt rubbing up against your leg. And also, you know that feeling when you're lying in bed and a cat jumps up on the bed?
Yes.
And sleeps next to you. A lot of guests have reported that they feel that.
Oh no, that's
when they go and sleep there. I would pay extra for this.
I got to sleep with a ghost cat.
I a few times without Blue and then a couple of times with her. And I've always said, I'm like, oh, I love it so much nicer. You know,
Right.
it's nice to sleep in a hotel, but I love it when I can sleep
With
and
your
like
pet.
have my pet right
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if I could go and not have the trouble of taking a pet, but still get that like nice little warm
The warm spot.
snuggle
yes.
buddy. Man, that's not a bug, that's a feature.
Right.
And so those are like very, very short stories, but again,
But that's amazing.
the stories of the ghosts of the
yeah.
Crescent Hotel.
Right.
If you want to go, you can still do the ghost tours, and you can go down in the basement and see the spooky morgue and
Oh, wow.
see all of the places that Dr. Baker had. The girl in the mist that jumps off the balcony and down into the courtyard. That place, I think, is now like a hotel bar that also serves pizza.
Oh,
So
no, when we went there, we had the pizza.
the pizza was good.
Yeah, the pizza was really good.
Like, we've gone separately.
Yes.
Like,
We've
but
both
not
been
together.
there.
But no, that pizza was good.
They had like an outdoor area where
It's
you
a
get
big
fancy
veranda.
frozen drinks and stuff. We went out there and then we went in for the pizza.
Right.
It was really good pizza.
So a whole lot of people that are like have enjoyed the Crescent enough that they are still sticking around.
Wow.
And that's my story.
I love it. I love ghost stories. So
I
you
know.
So the dog has to itch herself.
I know. Well, one of the friends of the pod messaged and said that we need to put a picture of Blue in the show notes,
That's
so
a great
that
idea.
just so that they can see
Right.
the background host of the podcast, the one we didn't ask.
Right. So I have a story. It's a new story.
Okay.
It takes place other places, but we start and we end in Ohio, so that's why I went with this. Do you know the name Margo Freshwater?
I do not, but fresh water is not something I associate with Ohio.
Right. So you know how I really like going back to my unsolved mysteries. So this is another one of these, and it's actually a solved one.
Thank goodness. Because I hate a dangling thread. It makes me so crazy.
So I love the solved ones because it's always amazing because they get solved pretty quickly after
Right.
they were put on TV. And I watched. I also listened. There was another true crime podcast called True Crime All the Time that I listened to.
I think I might have heard of that one.
Yeah, and they went they did a much more deep dive. So so anyway, Margo Freshwater, she grew up in Worthington, which is near Columbus, Ohio. So we're in Columbus, Ohio, and
shout out Seabus.
she grew up in a working class family. She mostly, like, as a teenager, she worked, like, as a babysitter.
Right.
She didn't have a great home life. Her mother was an alcoholic. The father abandoned them when she was young.
Oh.
She ended up dropping out of high school, mostly to help take care of her brother, even though her brother was only a year younger. I never really understood that. I think that was an excuse. But whatever.
And also, though, like, what they put on females
Yes.
is way different. than
Right,
what they
because the
put-
mom is obviously not being super helpful, so she...
Well, you watch your brother. Like, that's
Right.
what you're supposed to do.
Right. So she wasn't, the greatest... She was a teenager. She had a rough,
She's doing the best she can.
Yeah, she
Right.
did run away a couple of times as a teenager.
I would too.
In 1966, she had a boyfriend. Well, she ended up getting pregnant. I don't know if it was with a boyfriend, but she ended up getting pregnant in 1966.
I'm betting a boy was involved.
Probably. I don't think it was,
Is this the story of Jesus?
That's what I was about to say. She's not married.
I've heard that can happen on a toilet seat. God, you go to the wrong QT one time.
So in July of 1966, she ends up meeting this guy by the name of Alfred. And Alfred was not a great guy, but, like, she got along with him pretty well. He apparently had left his wife. When she met Alfred, she was 7 months pregnant. Okay, and he basically was going to help her out. They started dating. He got her an apartment.
He's not her parents.
No.
There's no other, child that you have to watch, so this looks like a good...
Yeah, he's trying to help her out. Now, he
Right.
doesn't make money the greatest way. He ends up, he's a gambler. So,
Okay.
But he's paying for her apartment. After she gave birth, Alfred was like, listen, neither of us are in great... we don't have money. I obviously don't make money in the greatest way. Maybe you should give up the baby for adoption. So she does.
Oh, how old is the baby?
I don't know. It was right after she gave birth.
Oh, okay.
He's like, maybe we should give it up for adoption just so, just can kind of move on. And so she does. And he basically, the reason why he said this, he's like, because he knew he was making money not the traditional way, he's like, well, what if something happens to me?
What's going to happen to you and the kid?
Right, exactly. So it was okay advice considering what happened next.
For the time, yeah.
So he started stealing, and he ended up getting caught stealing in Tennessee.
Been caught stealing.
I know. When was it? She left for Tennessee. Basically, he had ended up getting a lawyer, and so she was going to get on a bus, go down to Tennessee, and talk to his lawyer and see if she could get him out of jail.
Okay.
She takes this 15-hour bus ride down to Shelby County Jail, and he was there for an armed robbery. When she went to go see Alfred's attorney in Memphis, the attorney took the case pro bono. Now, this attorney, there was something off with him. He didn't really have a lot of money on himself. She didn't have any money. It was really weird.
A little sketchy.
Yeah, a lot sketchy actually. So the attorney and her are talking, and then the attorney's like, well, let me get you into I guess he was going to work with her or something, gets her into a, what are they called? One of those houses.
Hostel?
Yeah, something like that. And they start having an affair.
Oh, dear.
So she goes to get out her boyfriend out of jail and starts having an affair with the attorney.
So it's kind of like, oh my gosh, mister, I can't possibly afford to pay for this pizza. How can I make it up to you? This is the beginning of a porn.
I know! The attorney's name is Glenn Nash. Apparently, Alfred's attorney, Glenn, he came up with some great ideas on how to get Alfred out of jail. One of his ideas was to smuggle guns into the court and get him free.
FYI, don't try baking a gun into a cake. It does not end well.
It does not end well.
You are going to need a new oven. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Possibly a new kitchen.
I love how I look at the microphone like it's our audience. Hi.
Glenn was 38, Margo was 18. Yeah.
So they have a lot in common.
Yeah, he apparently, he originally got married in 1950 and moved to Tennessee. He got his law degree, and then in 1961 his father passed away, and all of his friends could tell that his entire personality just changed. A lot.
After his father
His father passed away. He was arrested with 6 other men for basically taking $100,000 worth of money orders.
I wonder what that father-son dynamic was like, right?
He was found innocent, but he was accused again for stealing bonds. Basically, he was released for lack of evidence, and he did receive a $50 fine for contempt of court for not showing up to represent one of his clients. I don't know how he was a practicing lawyer and also a criminal, but here we go. His wife said that he would just disappear on weekends and she would have no idea where he was.
She's just home.
Yeah,
handling the household, kids, whatever.
So she got tired of it and they ended up getting a divorce in 1966.
Okay.
And he started having delusions that the bar association, was conspiring against him. So basically, he's he's gone through a divorce. Apparently, he's an alcoholic. He has severe mental illness, especially since his father passed away.
I was about to say, this smells like addiction to me.
Right. He was being investigated by the Memphis Bar Association, so that's why that once his personality changed, he thought, okay, they're conspiring against me. They're after me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this plays into the crimes.
Life starts to slip and he's lashing out at everyone but him.
Exactly. So Margo and Nash, he put her up in a boarding house. That's the word I was looking for. So she's staying at this boarding house, and one night he goes to pick her up from the boarding house. They're leaving the house, and the landlady tells the landlady, "Oh, we're going to go bowling." They weren't going bowling. No, they were not going bowling. He proceeded on a crime spree with Margo. First, they were robbing a liquor store, and he had Margo basically stay in the front of the store, and he took the cashier to the back of the store, tied him up, and while she could hear noises in the back, but she didn't know what was going on, and apparently a customer. Later on, we find this out. A customer went in, and she actually, took his money and gave him whatever liquor he was buying to, kind of throw.
So she's masquerading as an employee.
Right. While Nash is in the back with this cashier. He ends up tying up the cashier and shoots the cashier in the head 5 times.
Oh, my goodness.
And because he thought he was a part of the board that was coming after him. So it's delusional, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hillman Robbins, he ends up dying, obviously, and he leaves behind a wife and 2 children.
Oh no.
The witnesses apparently see them, both Margo and Nash flee in a white Ford Fairley vehicle, a car. Almost same time. Almost the exact same thing happens in Florida. They drive down to Florida. So this happened in Tennessee. They drive down to Florida, and they do almost the exact same thing. They go into...
But it's far enough away that maybe people don't connect to it.
Oh,
sorry. That was Blue.
She likes barking.
Third host of the podcast. I think that was probably an Amazon order.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to shut the door. We will put a picture of her in the show notes for tags.
So they basically do the exact same thing. Esther Boya basically was a cashier at a convenience store, takes her in the back, shoots her. They find... So now we're like, okay, the Florida police are like, okay, there's something going on. And they end up, because they find her passed away, and they find his abandoned vehicle. Mm-hmm. And in the trunk, the police find bullet casings and the rope that was used in both of the crimes. So he's tied them up with a rope, and they find the shell casings. Oh. The car, when they trace the car back, it traces right back to Nash. So he's not trying to be, he's not doing a great job of being a criminal. Mm-hmm. Once they ditch the car, they get a cab. C.C. Serwin was found shot to death shortly after picking up the couple in his cab.
Oh no!
So, and it's this older guy. I'll show you the picture later. He looks like a very sweet man, and you're like, it was clearly probably at retirement and just drove a cab.
He's just doing this for a little extra, or just to keep himself busy.
And they killed him. It's just terrible. The police, basically, they're like, okay, well, they're not, they don't have a car.
Oh, no.
They don't have the cabbie, so they start going to all of the bus stations. They're like, okay, we're going to figure this out. And they finally end up catching up with them. They were in Mississippi. That's where they killed the cabbie.
Oh.
And so they were charged with the cab driver's murder. They go to trial. Glenn Nash is deemed insane, and so he would not stand in trial. They basically incarcerate him in a mental hospital. Margo was tried for CC's murder. That's the cabbie. She claimed to be held under will by Nash claiming that he would kill her if she ran, which is not really surprising to me.
I was going to say, but he was in the back, though, wasn't he, for a while? She had every opportunity.
Right. I don't think she knew what he was going to do during that first one. The second one, who knows? Who knows? We don't know. We'll never know. The jury failed to have a verdict during the first 2 trials, but 3 years later, they end up, Tennessee ends up taking on that case, the very first one.
Right.
And they find her guilty for the first victim, for Robbins, and they sentence her for 99 years in prison. Here's where the story goes a little crazy. 18 months later, she is at this prison in Tennessee, and there was a bunch of women, because it's like an all-women's prison, and they have one guard with all of these women outside, and her and another inmate end up scaling a barbed wire fence.
Holy cow!
Hitching a ride and disappearing. And and when they interviewed the guard that was like in charge, he's like, well, I had all these other people, and it was kind of like, well, if I leave, we'll catch them later. Like, what am I supposed to do, right?
So many.
Right.
Yeah, like you can't herd all the cats. Believe me, you can't herd all the cats.
Right. So they end up somehow end up in Baltimore, Maryland. They end up splitting from each other, and like the other inmate lady, she ends up getting caught in Chicago, Illinois, and they do not find Margo. Like, she is gone. Now, she has a brother. According to the brother, the one that was 1 year younger than him, when this crime spree started, when she went to jail, when she escaped, he did not hear from her at all. Like, just gone. Like,
Margo.
just gone. Now,
Margo.
Right? 32 years later.
What? I'm sorry, what?
32 years later. 32 years later, they broadcast Unsolved Mysteries. Because this happened in the 60s, right?
Wow.
32 years later, they broadcast this in 2002.
I'm sorry.
I know. They end up finding her in Columbus, Ohio. She was under the alias of Tanya McCarter. She was a married mother of 3 children.
No.
She had a grandchild.
How old are the kids?
I don't know. Clearly old enough to have she's got a grandkid. When they caught her, she was with her husband, her son, and her grandchild.
Oh my goodness.
They were interviewing one of the guys that caught her, and they're like, yeah, basically, she's like, can I say, at least hug my child and my, husband goodbye? And apparently he said that he could see her whispering her into her son's ear, and her son started bawling.
Mama's going away for a little while. Yeah.
So apparently none of them knew of her past. Because, she was 18 when this all happened.
Oh,
so 32 years later, so it's 18, 28, 38, 48. She's 50 years old. Just crazy. She was sent back to the same prison in Tennessee, where she was arrested in May of 2002. On May 2011, the Tennessee Court Appeals reversed her conviction. Apparently, an informant who was at the mental institution with Glenn, the one who actually did the killing, wrote a 4-page letter about how he killed the person that she was in jail for.
No.
So, was she there? Yes. Was she in the front, though, when it happened? We can't...
Did she know anything? Did she do anything?
She was in the front, taking money from a customer who wanted liquor,
She was up front pretending to be a cashier.
Exactly. So they ended up overturning it. She did, however, enter a special guilty plea. I don't know what that means. And they released her from prison, and her son, her children, and her current husband, they stood by her. They're just like, this was a very long time ago. she clearly, that like, as far as anyone's concerned, when she changed her name and stuff, she didn't do any other crimes.
Right, it was just this one. She was with the wrong person.
Wrong person, wrong time. Yeah.
We've all
exactly. This is not a very long story, but it was just like 32 years. What?
There's stuff we won't talk about on this podcast.
It's so crazy, isn't it?
My gosh.
So that is my story of
that is amazing.
Margo. So
oof, poor Margo.
I know. Like, I mean, you know, when you're 18, you don't make the best decisions.
No.
You know.
I'm
what are we
ready to be 49. I always make the best decisions.
So I think this is where we should take a break.
This is where we take a break. Janet and I are going to go out back and we're going to talk about our bad decisions. I'm going to introduce her to my felonious Mima. And then we'll try to pet a ghost cat and we'll be back for What's Nice.
We'll be back for What's Nice.
Hi there, Muddy Buddies. Tracy here. We're talking about a few different ways that you can support the podcast. The first thing is that while we've always had a patreon.com for Big Muddy Mayhem, but we have recently added another source called buymeacoffee.com, and that is a place where you can give a one-time donation or a regular donation to help support the production of this podcast. We would also really, really love it if you would engage with us. Send us stories for new, like your suggestions of stories to bigmuddymayhem@gmail.com. And then also, what really helps is 5-star ratings, good reviews, comments on our YouTube page at Big Muddy Mayhem, so that we know what you like and what you don't like, and we can continue to provide content that you enjoy. Janet and I really appreciate that you take the time to listen every week, and if you're a new listener, welcome. We hope you like us. We're not the greatest, but we try to make you laugh. Welcome back for What's Nice.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Janet,
Tracy.
Are you ready to hear about What's Nice?
Yes,
in Eureka Springs?
Yes, I am.
Which is so many things.
There are so many things nice there.
But today, we're going to talk about Quigley's Castle.
Ooh.
Do you know anything about this?
No, I do not.
I have not either. Like, I didn't either, and I've been there a few times. So there is a woman.
Okay.
We love her.
Okay.
This is our queen. We are, this is the hero of this story.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
Elise Fioravanti.
Okay.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, Italian girl, she moves to the Ozarks at age 9.
Okay.
She walks to school, probably uphill both ways, right?
There's a lot of hills.
And there are so many hills.
There's so many hills.
Like, if you do not bring heels.
Yeah,
just
bring
wear
walking
flats.
shoes. Walking shoes.
So Elise Fioravanti, she moves to the Ozarks at age 9. She walks to school, and she's mesmerized by all of these pretty river rocks along the way, which I can totally understand.
Yes.
Ryder and I, we float regularly in the Ozarks. If you know that, like, we have so many house plants in this house,
yes,
and so many rocks in all of these house plants, they're all probably like a memento from a float that we have taken.
Nice.
She meets and marries Albert Quigley. He owns a farm and a lumber mill, so this is a good get for her, right?
Right.
He promises her, and she's grown now. She's not 9 anymore, y'all. Just so you know, this is a respectful age difference.
Right.
But he promises her that they will have their own house. I own a lumber mill. I will build you a house.
Okay.
It's fine. We're going to build it.
Okay.
But in the meantime, while we're getting there, we're going to live in this little shack outside the lumber mill. And they do.
Okay.
And they love each other. And they apparently love each other a whole bunch because they have 5 kids.
Oh my gosh.
So they love each other 5 kids worth.
Wow.
And years have gone by and there is still no house. They're still living in the lumber shack. So he leaves for work one day. This is in June.
Okay.
And she moves anything breakable or important into the chicken coop. And then she tells the kids, "We're tearing this house down."
She's done.
Oh, man. Get a good woman and don't push her past her limit. And this is exactly what he has done. Like, he has a good woman, Albert, and he has just, he's brought her to the edge. There was one day that, like, my mom and dad had had too many fights, and I remember I came home, or he came home, and she had taken those iron-on letters.
Yes.
She had made, like, a baseball tee. Where she had, like, ironed on letters in the front that said bimbo, because that's what my father had called her.
Oh, no!
I have pictures of me roller skating up and down the hall in a shirt that says bimbo.
Oh, God.
At, like, age 7. Oh, God. So, like, these poor kids.
Right? We're going to tear this house down. Wait, what?
But so they do tear down the house. And Albert gets home and he realizes that, like, all of their stuff is in a chicken coop. And it might be time to build a house. So she's already ready with, like, structures. She has a freaking diorama, a model of the house that she has made with, like, cardboard from cereal boxes from the 5 kids she's been raising, and matchbooks and all of this stuff.
Oh my God.
And she's like, "Yeah, this is what I want." And he's like, "Okay."
Okay.
"Oh, okay. I'm kind of afraid of you now." "Okay." Now, it's wartime.
Okay.
World War II. This is 1943.
Okay.
So glass is kind of hard to come by. And her model includes 28 windows.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Go ahead.
So they have to fill part of them with soil and just, like, plant them, or else use cloth to kind of cover it.
Right.
Because he's like, "Okay, I can make this happen, please. Please calm down. Please don't stab me." But it's not going to be overnight.
No.
So they build this huge mansion with 28 windows. And she also has them grow, he owns a lumber mill, right?
Right.
So indoor walls are wood.
Oh.
Outdoor walls, like I said, she used to collect rocks on her way to school.
Oh.
So those, and then also rocks, because it's the Ozarks, rocks are thick on the floor. She puts together a stone wall for the outside.
Wow.
And then wooden walls for the inside. And in between, she packs it with soil.
Wow.
So between the indoor and outdoor walls, she plants her plants.
Okay.
Some of them are now over 65 years old.
Wow.
And the entire house is built out of their own lumber and $2,000 worth of supplies.
Wow.
Outside of that, that's nothing for this mansion. And you can see.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
It's all glass on the outside.
Yes.
There's so much. She was like, "Well, I want to feel like I have the outdoors indoors."
Right.
And all of that. You can still visit there through November. March through November is when it's open. They have over 400 varieties of flowers.
Oh,
And again,
wow.
some number are still as old as when she was there. Like there are some new ones, but a lot of those plants are original. There are over 400 varieties of flowers, and you can go and see the house that was built by one woman that had finally had enough. Like, I'm not raising my kids. All right, you want to live in a chicken coop? Let's live in a chicken coop. And
Wow.
that is the story of Quigley's Castle.
Wow, that's so
And
cool.
from my story and my What's Nice Today,
Uh-huh.
everything is still the same sources that I cited last week. But I did have to give a tip of the hat to cattippers.com, which provided me a picture of Ghost Cat Morris.
Oh, that's so sweet.
All right.
Well, I have my What's Nice. We're going back to Columbus, Ohio. I looked this place up. It's called North Market. Basically, it's kind of like our Soulard Market here. It has been there for 148 years.
Are you kidding? That's very old.
No, 148-year-old public market. It has merchants, farmers, and makers. They actually have two locations. The downtown one is basically the original
Right.
downtown, and then they have Bridge Park. Downtown has 30 independent-owned small businesses.
Oh, nice. That's enough to get around.
Yeah, they have fresh produce, meat, poultry, seafood, flowers, specialty food items, international food items, and gifts. They're open every day, but they are closed on some holidays. It looks like they have events every once in a while. It just looks like a farmer's market.
It does. Well, Bloomington, Indiana has another one like that I was like, oh my gosh, like, who expected to find this here? And it was so lovely.
But yeah, it's just a nice market, and it's been there for a long time. Supposedly in the 1970s, they were doing some construction or whatever, and it kind of made, like, they kind of hit rock bottom. Like, there was having a hard time getting people to go. They've raised money to basically, in the past, like, 5 or 10 years, they've ended up rebuilding the market to make it much nicer and easier to access. And so, but it's been there for a very long time. And
we both love a farmer's market.
Exactly, we do.
Yeah. No, that's so nice.
Yeah. So.
Also, little travel tip from Tracy, Money Buddies. If you're staying in a hotel and there is a farmer's market that's kind of like nice and near you, like, all right, maybe you're not going to be able to get everything, but get a good cheese.
Yes.
And also, if you're staying in a hotel, nothing is sweeter than, like, buying a bouquet of flowers.
Right.
And just having them in your room.
Right.
Like, you come home and it smells better and it looks more homey. I mean, just, yeah. What's nicer than fresh flowers when you walk in the door?
I love fresh flowers. I always do.
So this is lovely. And you said they're 7 days a week.
Yes, they're 7 days a week.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're just closed on some holidays. The only holiday I could see was like Memorial Day. I'm like, I know they're closed more than that. But, so... But,
well, it's a place that I want to get back to, and so I will make sure to. What's the name of the market again?
It's called North Market. Is that what I said? Probably. Yeah, North Market.
North Market. So the next time that I get down to Kansas City.
No, Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. I'm sorry. I will go to North Market.
Yes.
And check it out.
Yep.
And I think that this is where we say goodbye
Yeah.
for right now.
This is where we end.
Mm-hmm. But we do need to remind you of one more thing, and that is...
Stay Midwest nice.
Stay Midwest nice.